Hi, welcome today. I want to talk to you about I'm going to do is give you 10 things that you must have in the relationship. The working definition of recovery. This is something truly you're going to have in any relationship. The very first one to me is you got to have the foundation of honesty and trust. I'm going to read Ephesians 4:25. It says, therefore, let each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to your neighbor, for we're all members of one body. So, what I'm going to say to you, we're not honest. We do not tell the truth in dealing with the working definition of recovery and relationship. I didn't lie to him. I didn't lie to him. I'm just going to tell you something. It's lying. Jesus said the sin starts in the thoughts. The action is just the effect of the thoughts. We think because we did it and we didn't do it, that's when sin is judged. So thank God our God is a good God. It's just I'm going to judge you by your heart as you're working on your definition of recovery. I'm going to judge you by your thoughts. And then Paul said, guard your thoughts. Because when you go and say, woo, she's sexy, I like to do her, and God called that a sin, even if you never acted on it. Then you be like, ooh, I want to go back and use the drug. When you keep secrets, when you say, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to bother them, I'm going to sit here and tell you, I'd rather hurt somebody by telling them the truth than to hurt them because I lied to them and then they know I did. You know, the substance of dependency is a primary area of where substance dependency is the disease and it is not the result of another disease of other factors. That's where those lies start. And you got to be honest with yourself in that area. Because here's the thing, and I love that I spoke it. You can be forgiven for telling someone the truth that hurt them. When you lie to someone, you can never be forgotten. When you tell somebody the truth and it hurts them, and you can be forgiven for that. I'm sorry that I didn't mean to hurt you with the broken promises, the feeling, the isolation. I need to be honest. When you're gaining, losing weight, and when you're lying to someone and the truth comes out, that self-pity, that emotional outburst, that losing of social interest, truth and honesty. When we lie to protect others and we lie because we're sitting there because we hiding our stuff, a lost temper, modern drinking, whether you hide what we did, God calls it all out. And he calls all wrong. And he says when you lie, you're not just lying to that person. You're just afflicting that person according to what God just said in Ephesians. We are one body, which means when you lie, you're not just afflicting that person, you're afflicting yourself, and offenses is done to God. Colossians 3:9 says, do not lie to each other, since when you have received the me, you now have taken off your old self and you have put on me. The very next one, you guys, I need you to understand, do not start a new relationship and do not try to be friends with new people until you really reconsider the dependency roller coaster. That area of substance dependency, it is primary. But that reconciliation of any hurts and pains of old friendships, I need to tell you, when it's a friend or when it's an old business dealing that went bad and it's a relationship, man, that just cut you like a knife, I need to share with you until you heal in your heart, until you deal with your mind, until you deal with maybe the dreams you had attached to that, the things you thought was going to happen. That substance dependency is also like progressiveness. The disease of substance, the dependency is a relentless and persistent. And you going unchecked. The dependent person moves from an early stage where the substance dependency appear and helplessness and hopelessness, and that and being helpful and seductive to an uncontrolling craving, that craving of addiction. That substance dependency is also eventually fatal. You know, and you got to pay attention because the pain on the inside, until you reconcile that, tend to that, you need to know what happened. You're going to start a new friendship. You're going to start a relationship, and you're going to start a courtship, and you're going to treat that person. You're going to guard yourself and not even get to that person. You're going to judge that person from the past when it comes to that substance dependency. You know, that past where, you know, you got to ask yourself, do you believe that substance dependency can really be deadly in that relationship? This, you know, you can say yes, you can say a no, you can, but that is really important that you've been hurt by friend, and oh, you tend to that and you deal with it, and it is definitely important because when it comes to relationships, when it comes to even getting back up and try it again, let God heal you. Take some time. Take a time out. Under the demonic attacks and dependency roller coaster, God said He want to talk to you. God said, I want you to reveal the things I did. And I want to definitely tell you, when you're in a marriage and there's been hurt and pain and you don't deal with that dependency roller coaster, if you don't talk about it and you don't face it, I'm going to tell you what, it will never ever move itself from your relationship. And it will show up again. It won't show up the next. It's important that you keep extreme fidelity and then protect that relationship. You gotta tend to that relationship. If you see things setting up that you know can cause an issue, instead of waiting for it to cause destruction, waiting to see what it's gonna do with it, remove it. You know, those backsliding. Protect. Make your relationship second to God. And sometimes it means, you guys, being selfless, removing things maybe you don't see there's a problem, but your partner does. God says to remove those things, your brother or sister, you know, the backsliding areas, the reason of backsliding, you know, because we often unaware of its presence in our lives, that backsliding, where it begins unexpectedly, the backsliding. You know, you have to really tend to it. That troubles, that you love them enough, remove it. Your next thing, in a relationships, stop bringing up the past relationships. Stop bringing up the past of that relationship. What is he did back in the day, what she did back in the day. I'm going to sit here and tell you, our God is not a God of the past. Our God is of the future. The only person that God of the past is Satan. So when you're constantly talking about the past, you're constantly bringing up things from the past. You're constantly bringing up stuff that happened to you in the past, from your ex from the past. I need to sit here and explain to you, you're taking that relationship and you're moving it backwards. And that dependency of roller coasters areas. There's working definition of recovery. And you know, not tearing down a house as you're working towards that definition of recovery, and learn to have disagreements without tearing down a house, because the house of your relationship in business, God speaks about employment, careers, entrepreneurship, and business in the Bible. Friendships, it says nothing more powerful than laying your life down for a friend. And God said, He talks about courtship and how He used it, courtship, with us preparing us as the bride. And He definitely speaks a lot when it comes to marriage, you know, which is now a covenant, a commitment, and a contract. You know, be careful, because sometimes that area brings feeling of shame. It brings legal threats, and it brings health problems, and it brings an area of blaming others. You know, the broken promises. You know, that dependency roller coaster area of working definition of recovery. You gotta understand that area is where arguing and you're in disagreement, the names you calling each other in the moment, you know, those broken promises, those feelings of isolation of each other, is an area of where you take that time and you just speak to God and you talk to God. And if you need to talk to God with each other, you know, the things that, believe it or not, is that the power of words is you have to pay. I need you to understand, and you're tearing down the house God has built. Stop using God in your marriage, in your relationships, in your friendships, and even business when it comes to trying to influence people to do what you want them to do. Stop threatening them with God. Stop saying God is going to be happy with you. Stop saying you need Jesus. You need to go before him. You need to go in a prayer because something is going on here. Stop throwing Jesus as a weapon because you're frustrated and you're upset and you can't get your way. You don't know what to do. So you decide to start using Jesus as a weapon. And God said, I didn't come here for condemnation. I came here for conviction. I came here for love. I came here for you. You know, I need you to be careful with it. And, you know, work together in this dealing with working definition of recovery. At all costs, work together. Become a team. When you work individually, you're more vulnerable. And when you allow somebody to work alone, they're more vulnerable. So whatever type of relationship, work together. It goes back to communication. You know, Ecclesiastes 4:9-12 says, two are better than one, because they have a good return on their labor. If either of them one falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if two lie down together, they would keep them warm. But how can one keep warm alone? The one may be overpowering. Two can defend themselves. According to three strands, it's not so quickly broken. Work it out together. Stay together. Do it together. And don't leave your partner to do it alone. Don't forsake your partner. If they got on your nerve and you're tired, work together. And the definition of recovery and relationships, and relationship be governed and founded on in scripture and be like, and when Christ says, when don't do that, Christ can be in the middle of the relationship. Next, be giver and takers. And relationships and the working definition of recovery relationships, it's not all you is the giver. It isn't. The only way sometimes we can take is we open our mouths and we speak our desires. We speak our feelings. We speak what is good, what's bad, what hurts, what doesn't hurt. We like is to speak. One of the things I see a lot when I'm praying one-on-one, we struggle telling people what we feel. We struggle telling people what we need. We struggle being okay. We feel guilty. We feel like being selfish when we say, hey, I didn't like that. You think we can do this? You know, there's areas and times when you're working in that area and the definition of recovery, relationships, you have to pay attention to those areas of how you're going to develop that relationship back together again. And you have to understand that that area is very important because it's the area of where we're going to learn how that we're going to prepare each other and move forward in that a server and your relationships. Because the last one I need you to understand is that scripture first. It's 1 Corinthians 7:32-40. 1 Corinthians 7:30-40. A married man is concerned about the Lord's affairs, how he can please the Lord. But a married man can now be concerned about the affairs of the world, how he can please his wife. And his interests are divided. A married woman, a virgin concerned about the Lord's affair. Her aim is to be devoted to the Lord in both body and spirit. But a married woman all of a sudden becomes concerned about the fears of this world and how she can please her husband. I'm saying this for you own good, not to restrict you, but you may live in a way, an undivided devotion in dealing with the working definition of recovery relationships. I need you to understand because it is huge. And it ain't just a little bit, it's a lot. Because when we go into relationships and coming out of addiction, it could be business, friendship, ministry, mission, is definitely when it comes to the most holy place of all, marriage. We would go forsake God being first and become more worried about what our husband think, our wife think, and the way the world that God, when we are single, when we are, you know, we're more concerned about God. We leave on him. We provide for us. We speak to him. He's our friend, our confidant. He's the one we go to. He's the one we try to please. He's the one we make happy. But all of a sudden, when a man or woman shows up, we start to rule ourselves away from that relationship with God. And now we act like we don't even know God. And he ain't even worked in our life. We've forgotten the teachings and relationships we had. And I need you to understand in the relationships, don't thrive. Just don't thrive to survive. That area in the relationships, the definition of recovery relationships. And do not compromise your one-on-one relationship with God for anyone. I need you to understand you're going to relationship with is honoring their God first before they honor you. They're willing to compromise that relationship, compromise their strength for God, compromise their own uno to Jesus when he paid the price to forsaken them because what they done, they put you at the head, you over everything, and God is second and third. I need you to understand relationship to thrive and to survive. It better be God first and knowing how to keep that personal relationship deep and close. Thank you for joining me. I thank God that I was able to help someone out with their dealing with the working definition of recovery. If you would like to support the definition of recovery and you would like to just plant a seed, there's certain areas in the ministry where we reach out to people that you know, monetary donations that will be able to help us to really make that closure in some of the issues that we come across, especially when it comes to IDs, when it comes to rental assistance. A lot of people are looking for rental assistance and they're trying to find a way how to um, find the right office because sometimes the offices are not open in the area of where they have. Oh God, what's going on? All right, they're not open. The offices are not open where they can go get the help where they truly need. And just your donation, your planting of that one seed, it will help us out. So may God bless you. May God keep you. May Lord constantly place a hedge of protection around you. Shalom.